You're welcome back to the football show. Now, Cameroon were beaten in their opening game of the World Cup earlier today. Breel Mbolo, who was born in Cameroon, scored the only goal for Switzerland in their 1-0 victory in Qatar. To talk about Cameroon and their chances of recovering over the next couple of matches in a very difficult group, I'm joined by a Cameroonian legend, a League of Ireland legend, just a legend in every part of his life. Joey and Doe is with us. How are you keeping, Joey?
Amen. I'm good, thank you.
Tough day?
No, it was, I think it's a proud day because of to see fans disappointed because we lost in the World Cup. I think that's refreshing.
Yeah, you're there. That's the main thing. But in terms of what could have been, like it certainly wasn't a poor Cameroon performance. It just felt as though they missed that little touch of class in the final third.
But I think that they have. It wasn't too much the last third. I think it was the last 18. That was the problem. When you see since Samuel Eto'o took over the federation, his goal is very simple: is to bring the Cameroonian football in the highest level. And the first thing he said that we have a chance to win the World Cup. I think that's a completely shift of mindset, because most of the time when we play African Cup, if we don't win, it will be a disaster in Cameroon. But when it comes to the World Cup, people don't have the same expectation. And for me, it's all about the expectation, because to see the player disappointed because they didn't win against Switzerland, that's why I say it's refreshing, because no one is satisfied anymore to just go and play the 3 games and then go home.
Is that, though, setting an unrealistic target? Because you look at Cameroon's record at the World Cup, there's only one victory since the last 16 win over Colombia all the way back in 1994. So while it's good to have that final goal, is that putting too much pressure on the players heading into this World Cup?
I signed for Sligo Rovers in 2010, and I said we can win the league. And 2 years later, we were able to do it. The main thing is to start the process. And I think the next generation will understand that if you cannot have that goal to win a tournament, don't go for it. And I think in Cameroon, that's a problem. It's not about the player getting too much pressure, because they have that pressure in their own club. But to shift the mentality is very difficult. To win a World Cup, you don't need great players, you need a great team. You need the player to understand how difficult it is to win a competition like a World Cup. And when they start to understand it, they are ready to make effort. Like I say, I'm not too much worried about the future, because we have, I would say in first half, we have about 2 or 3 chances, and that's a good sign. I think that's the one thing where to play a game and you don't even have half of the chance, then you will be worried. But set a target to win the World Cup. I think that's the least the player can do.
Samuel Eto'o had an incredible playing career, Cameroon's greatest ever player, and came in this time last year after Roger Milla for what he achieved, but maybe at club level what Samuel Eto'o achieved is right up there. So he came in this time last year as president of the Cameroon Football Federation. We had the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon on home soil, where they finished third, and he decided to remove the manager and to bring in Rigobert Song, another Cameroon legend who had never managed previously. And there seemed to be a sense coming into this and a confusion as to who was really in charge of the team. There was a scenario when the squad was being announced where it felt as though Rigobert Song didn't know some of the players' names, or the pronunciations were off, almost as if it was the first time he had seen this squad, because maybe Samuel Eto'o was the one who had selected the squad. Who's really managing this team?
Sorry, because the way you say it just you are so frustrating by what's going on in Cameroon.
I'm just wondering, who is Rigobert Song managing this team, or is Samuel Eto'o managing this team?
No. It's Rigo. It's definitely Rigo. I think sometimes we make a confusion between Samuel Eto'o aura, Samuel Eto'o persona, and the manager. The one thing you have to understand with Samuel Eto'o is that it gives you the responsibility, because if you don't do it, you're going to get sacked. And the last thing he doesn't want is for you, after getting sacked, to say, hey, I didn't pick the team. So everyone has his responsibility. And I know some for playing with him. He's someone who doesn't communicate much, but you cannot tell him which player he has to pick. It's not possible. Everyone has his own responsibility. And Rigobert's song going to answer after the World Cup, because I'm pretty sure before he took that job, the goals were set up. First, we qualified for the World Cup, and secondly, we're doing better than we used to do in the past. And if he doesn't got those requirements, I'm pretty sure he's going to get sacked, and he knows that. So there is no confusion between them. The only problem is that when we see him from outside with a top personality, we think that he's doing everything. No, he knows his limit. He's making sure that every player understood what it means to wear the Cameroon shirt, because for years he was a disaster, a completely disaster. The player thought that they were better than what they were. So he came and put everyone straight, including the manager, to say no one is safe. So I don't see him going behind the scene and telling the manager which player you're going to pick. And then when things doesn't work out, sack the manager. It's not possible.
From what you know of Samuel Eto'o, and you would have been in many Cameroon squads when he was a young man, and he probably would have been used to high standards coming through at Real Madrid and their academy initially, and then obviously been part of one of the greatest club sides of all time, and working under Pep Guardiola at Barcelona. In terms of his personality, is he an incredibly demanding individual?
I think we have a similar personality. That means we can see the best out of people, and we try to take the best out of them. There is nothing strange. When it's not too much about being a winner, it's just when you're a competitor, you always want to win. That's just the nature. But you also understand that in some point you're going to lose. And that's the best way you're going to learn how to continue winning, is to lose. So as a person, I love the guy. He has a big heart. He's a generous person. But when it comes to the game, especially when you know what you're talking about, you want people around you who has the same passion and who has the same desire. And I think in Rigobert's song, he finds someone who has the same desire to do something that no one ever done. I always say, for me, the legacy is more important than the money in football. When you go somewhere, you have to make sure that soon, the day you're going to leave, everyone will remember.
Looking at the squad that was picked then, that Rigobert Song picked for this tournament, in terms of quality and considering the group that Cameroon find themselves in alongside Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, a real difficult group, is the quality there for them to progress from this group?
I do believe. I never believe in Cameroon so much in the World Cup. I do believe that they have a chance to go through because of what's going on in the dressing room. Like I say, when you have a healthy and healthy dressing room, everything is possible. Because the first thing is to make those runs. Because you're going to have to run a lot. And if you are not ready to sacrifice yourself, it will be very, very, very difficult. Now, for the next few games, there is some adjustment who has to be made. I think that in the midfield, if we don't have a proper number 10, we're going to have to put Choupo-Moting behind Abubakar, simply because that's going to allow Choupo-Moting to do his stuff without being the focal point. Abubakar going to just make sure that to hold the defense. Also, seeing every time we go wide, especially at the 80-yard box, when we have those crosses, there is no one. So I have a big hope that It's not about how good Brazil is. We know that. It's not about Serbia. It's not about Switzerland. It's all about what we want to achieve. You know, I never played one game in national team before 98. Never played. I used to go in training camp in the national team, but even a friendly, I never played. So my first game was in the World Cup. So I do believe that when you set up a target and you put the effort into it, and you, especially you understand the process and you understand that it will not be easy to achieve, you already make half of the way.
How big a surprise was it for you when you looked at that starting team and Vincent Aboubakar, who scored 8 goals in the African Cup of Nations less than a year ago, wasn't in the starting 11?
It wasn't a surprise because I started to see a little bit in the friendly they were playing that it's going to be between Aboubakar and Choupo-Moting because Choupo-Moting is such in good form with Bayern Munich. So I'm not surprised. I would have preferred for them to play together because when you have Anguissa in the midfield and I think you have enough people in the midfield who can control it and then let the other do their stuff. But also, I think having to go through that in the first game, that's the best thing who can happen to you because the first game allows you to see a little bit what you can do better. So if you don't take that opportunity, you have nobody to blame because some of the team, most of the time, they end up in the quarterfinal or the semifinal and losing their first game and they are out. So you still have time to learn now.
You're staying positive. I'll give you that, Joey. There's no doubt about it.
No, I'm not staying positive. It's just football.
You're keeping it all in perspective then. Was it more difficult seeing Bril Mbolo, a player who was born in Cameroon, who spent the first few years of his life scoring the goal for Switzerland?
No, I was so pleased for him because, score a goal in the World Cup is something. It's something amazing. And Mbolo make his choice based... No, because something you have to understand also that a lot of Cameroonian players would choose to play with other countries, especially the one who were born in Cameroon. A lot of them decide to play for another country because of what were going on in the federation. It was just completely bad. So sometimes the parents just tell them, I don't want you to play for them. I don't want you to play for the federation. It was that bad. So I'm so happy for Mbolo. If we had Mbolo in our team, it would be so good. But listen, the young man is a terrific player. He deserves his goal. Unfortunately, he didn't have to celebrate. I wanted him at least to smile because it's a proud moment.
Yeah, there are a few of those players. Armel Bella-Kotchap is in the German squad, and I think you played with his father at Cameroon. The issues that were in the federation, is that now changing with the arrival of Samuel Eto'o? Because I think there is it 5 French-born players in the Cameroon squad who, since Eto'o's arrival, have committed to playing for Cameroon. So may you actually start to see those players who once were deciding to play for the European countries decide to come back and play for Cameroon?
Yeah, of course. He's done a terrific job. I never see that before. I think he knows what he's talking about. He understood what the players need. He understood what you have to say to the player. And the professionalism he brought into it convinced every player. Like now, everyone wants to come back just because Samuel Eto'o took the federation and he practically changed the philosophy, the mindset, the face of the federation.
Have you been back to Cameroon lately?
Yeah, I was in Cameroon a few weeks ago.
And plenty of anticipation, I'd imagine, for the World Cup?
Yeah, of course. When I say about the mindset, it's the first time in Cameroon where people debate about winning the World Cup or not. Do we have a team to win the World Cup? Are we good enough to win the World Cup? And I think that's a great debate because we never had that before. that's what I'm saying about the mindset. I'm not too much worried about what we're going to do in this World Cup, but I'm pretty sure that the chrono as the time already start where one of the generation will win the World Cup, because everything has changed. Now people understood that there is no point to fight so hard to get into a competition, and then when you get there, you say, oh, it doesn't matter. And that's why I can see similarity between Cameroon and Ireland, because sometimes you see a team fighting so much to get into Europe. And then when you get into Europe, the first thing you hear that, oh, we cannot play in Champions League. So why are you fighting to get there? Just don't. Give someone else a chance. I think that's the problem with players. We forgot that the football is a beautiful game, that anything can happen, anything. But you have to give yourself a chance, because if you don't, who's gonna do it for you?
Did you find when you were playing then the League of Ireland that a real frustration, that is a lack of ambition, lack of belief as to what players could do?
Oh, Nathan, that was just and especially when I see how much talent were there, and because, like I say, my reason why I want to win the League of Ireland is to play in Champions League. That was the only reason. If I felt that I have no chance to play in Champions League, why am I going to win the league? So, and then at the end of the season, I prepare myself to play in Champions League. But then when you get into the start of the season, you can feel it's not the same. The player, they don't have the same drive. They don't have the same, I would say, desire. And of course, most of the time they were focused on the club. But, the club signed me to do something. And my goal was always to try to bring the club to a level they've never been before. And I just felt that the player didn't have that. A simple example is the player didn't even fought to try to get into a national team. So then when you don't have that desire for your own national team, you play in the league and you say, you know what, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to try to get there. It's just to tell you the ambition the player has. It's all about the League of Ireland. We try to win the league, we try to get qualified into Europe, and that's it. It was a really frustration.
Very difficult for Irish players in the way in the League of Ireland, because so few of them ever get selected for the national team, that so many of the international managers had a view of the League of Ireland that no matter how well you played in that league, you weren't good enough for the National League.
And I agree with them for one reason, because the way you think you are good is not, you are not as good on the level, international level. Because every time when a player compares to himself, he's going to compare to himself to a teammate. He will not compare to himself to someone who play in Barcelona or Real de Madrid or something like that, or Man United, Man City, Arsenal. So you compare yourself to someone that is not in the level that you want to compete to. That's what I'm saying. The manager national team is there for a result first. It's not even there to developing players. It's there for a result. So you as a player, you need to give yourself a chance. I've been through that. I play in Cameroon. And in Cameroon, like I say, I've been selected a few times for training camps, but I never play a single friendly game. I never give up. So I never give up. Because I knew how talented I was. I understood also in football that, listen, it's not every manager who's going to like the way you play, but that shouldn't stop you to at least try to get into your national team. But I just feel that most of the League of Ireland, they're just happy to do just a little bit. They are not ready to go over the expectation people has for them. Like sometimes the club, I'm taking sometimes the club think that, okay, you know what, we're going to sign this guy, and if we can qualify for Europe, that would be great. And the player is satisfied by that. But you shouldn't. You have to start the league thinking that I want to win the league. It doesn't matter what the club ambition are. Your ambition always you have to drive to get better. You have to drive to help your teammate to get better. And the only problem we have at the moment in the League of Ireland, and it's still there, is that the players are not doing enough. I can talk about managers and everything, but it's first the players. Players' ambition always going to drive the club, going to drive the country, always.
We saw Jack Byrne get a cap in a competitive game, which was, I think, the first time in well over 30 years a player from the League of Ireland had played in a competitive game for the Republic of Ireland, and there were a few players on standby for the fixtures just gone. You're doing a lot of commentary on the League of Ireland at the moment, so you're watching an awful lot of games. Are you seeing a difference in quality in the league from when you were playing? Do you feel the quality is getting better? Do you feel the mindset of players is changing at all?
I would say the mindset, no. I don't like to judge too much the quality compared to what I was playing. For one reason is that when I'm doing the commentary, my job is to sell the game. My job is to make the player happy. Just to, in terms of their skills, in terms of those little details that most of the fans, they don't really pay attention. That's my job. But in terms of mindset, I just feel that the players still have that little, that's not for me. That's for somebody else. And for me, that's the key for where the league wants to go. That's why I say it's all about the player. Because if you set your mindset that I want to be in that national team, I want to be in the starting 11, trust me, you're going to put people around you who are going to help you for it. You're going to put the hours that deserve to be put on, because sometimes I train the junior league player. And you know what? They want to train 2 hours a week and be professional. And I say, are you serious?
So when are you going to make that next step, Joey? Because as you say, you've dabbled in coaching and management around Mayo, and I think at the college down in Sligo. As I say, you're in the commentary box. You're talking a good game at the moment. Is it an ambition to get into management in the League of Ireland?
No, not at the moment. Because what I'm doing, I really enjoy it. I have a structure who mentoring and developing players, and I when you see how a player can develop himself, especially mentally, because for me that's the first thing. A player can be the most technical player. If mentally you are not ready, it will be difficult. So as a manager, I don't think at the moment I'm ready for it, because first. That's why I didn't do all my badges, because I only do something when I feel that it's time. And if I'm going to do all my badges now, I will not. I'm going to just do it for the sake of doing, no purpose. But I'm so glad of what I'm doing now to develop and mentoring players. For me, I always add something in life is to be happy. And if that gives me happiness, I cannot ask for more. And also being a manager, you don't have a life anymore. That's just the reality of being a manager.
Yeah, it's 24/7. To wrap up then, next up for Cameroon is Serbia in the early game on Monday, and they finish up against Brazil next Friday. What's it like watching a game with Joey and Doe? Are you calm watching Cameroon? Are you emotional watching Cameroon? Are you off your seat?
No, I'm very calm. It depends. I'm very calm, and it's not like I'm doing commentary, because when I'm doing commentary, I'm just like a fan. But when I'm watching the game, I'm very calm. Most of the time, even I'm not watching with commentary, just to make sure that I don't criticize anyone that why you didn't say this.
So sound off, just your own thoughts.
Just my own thought. And, you know, to watch Cameroon or to watch other games, like you were talking about Jack Byrne, you know, as a fan, you will enjoy watching Jack Byrne. He's, you know, that young man is something else. I don't know even if he knows how good he is. I don't think so. I don't think, because what he's doing, if he raises his game just a little bit, that young man can be the player the national team needs. And that's the way I watch the game, because you don't have to compare to you. You have to enjoy the moment. Like I say, football is a game, and most of the time the player forget about it. It's a game, and you have to enjoy it. You have to make people enjoy it. That's what you're getting paid for. And I hope people will not take that away. It's a game, and it has to be enjoyed.
I think a Joey and Doe audiobook, motivational audiobook that Jack Byrne could stick in his headphones for before every game could work wonders for him.
Amen.
You can charge Rovers a good price as well if you want. Joseph and Doe, always a pleasure. Best of luck to Cameroon. Hopefully they do go all the way. Hopefully they can recover from the defeat today against Serbia and Brazil, and they can go a long way in this tournament, and hopefully we get to check in with you again.
If they don't, I will call Samuel Eto'o and tell him that you are not happy.
Do.